Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into the Lady K Chat podcast. I am your host, Lady K, and today I want to tell you about today's show, which is called Men Shall Stand. And ladies, this message is particularly for you. Listen, ladies, if you have a great man and a good man at home, I urge you to tune in right now to listen to this message on how you can be a better woman for your man, especially within this trying time. Ladies, the men need our support. I understand we need it too, but we get poured into so we can also pour into our men. So stay tuned and I'll see you soon.
The following podcast is a Lady K Enterprises production.
Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for all women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be speaked upon, such as relationships, personal development, health and wellness, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Kalima, aka Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning into this show of Men Shall Stand. It is a pleasure to be back on this mic with you. Today, I have a special treat, a good friend of mine, which I love her so dearly. We're going to be talking about the men because men, we need you to stand. So I would like to introduce this woman who is an author. She's a Christian life coach. She's a substance abuse counselor, a social worker. She's the founder of Unbranded, and she's also a survivor of domestic violence. And I would like to welcome Miss Latasha Douglas, aka Miss L. Tomay. How are you, Tomay?
I'm good. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
I thank you. Thank you for coming up here and being with me today. Listen, I just want to tackle so much stuff. It's like so much stuff is running through my head. And I know you and I, normally when we get together, we like to talk about the stuff that people don't like to talk about. We like to address, the elephant in the room.
Yes.
And I always tell you, every time we have a conversation and we talk about men, I'm going to tell my, you always got a soft spot for the men. And she's like, I know, Kalima. I said, so you know what? I'm going to bring her on the show so she can talk about it. Why is her heart so dear into the men?
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yes. Where should we start, Tomay?
You tell me and I'll just follow your lead.
Sure. Okay. So for, this is a perfect time because the COVID, is going on right now and everybody's in panic mode. And of course, we always look to our men, to be strong and to be leaders. But for the men right now, that's kind of feeling like the weight is, the world is on their shoulder because all this is going on. What comfort can we give them when they come back home to a woman, because they've been out there tackling the world and of course, like I said, the COVID-19 out there? What do you think that a woman can do when her man come home to give him comfort and to give him ease?
Oh, well, you just said it. That's the answer. To make sure that he has comfort when he comes home and that he has ease, because the reality is there are so many things that a man would have to tackle outside of the home. So to come home and have to fight some more and tackle some things, that's not what they want. That's not what they need.
Right.
So, but it begins with the woman.
Right. So what advice would you give to a woman? What measures can she take to provide him that comfort?
Well, it depends because I would need to know more information about the relationship. So I'll just take a relationship that may have been strained a little bit. And it could be because, initially the man was always out doing stuff and now we're going through this COVID but he's an essential worker. So he still has to go out.
Right.
So I would say to the woman to take that time to focus on yourself, to take that time to build you up because we can't give what we don't have ourselves.
Absolutely.
We can't provide a sense of safety and a sense of serenity if we're not offering it to ourselves? And I think that that's where it really begins. If we can start looking at us and doing the work on ourselves while they're out there, then when they come home, we won't be, oh, you didn't call me, you didn't answer the phone. They won't be doing all of that stuff because they're in a space of knowing that they're good, their partner is good, and they're going to make sure that he knows they're good when he gets home. Right. That he can de-stress and he doesn't have to carry any more weight when he walks in the house. But he can just see her and the children or whomever and know everything is fine because of the peace that he just walked into.
Absolutely. I have a question for you. It just popped into my head. Do you think sometimes us women, do you think we're unrealistic about our expectations from a man?
Ooh.
Yeah. Good question, right?
Oh yeah. So, I have this thing where I say like, it's not necessarily a right and a wrong answer, but to answer your question, I would say sometimes yes.
Okay.
And I say that because we expect more from a man at times than we expect of ourselves.
Ooh.
And not only do we expect more from them, women, just by virtue of all that we had to overcome, especially as African-American women, but women overall, we have to deal with so many things, being treated as a second citizen in some cases, men making more money than women. This whole misogynistic, environment that we live in, that women have had to become their own heroes.
Right.
And the problem is we have become so independent and so strong that when we get with the man or we look at the man, we treat them like they're our sidekick.
And
that's off. That's off. They're not a sidekick. So we have to do the work on ourselves, because really when we start treating somebody less than who they are, it really speaks to areas in our lives that we miss to heal.
Wow. I like that. The areas in our lives that we miss to heal. That's the reason why we probably will backlash and take some of our frustration and anger out on them, correct?
Definitely.
Especially you hear a lot of the terms where, she got daddy issues, or maybe you might hear the terms where the men say, they got mommy issues. Do you think sometimes that can be the case as well?
Oh, definitely on both sides. Okay. And definitely on both sides. And I think what happens a lot is if we're not healed, our inner child isn't healed, then, I can be interacting with the man and I'm really interacting with his little boy.
Right.
His unhealed boy. Yes, go ahead.
It's funny that you said that, and I'm going to give my own personal testimony. And again, everyone, I'm not trying to say I'm perfect, but I do give myself a little credit because I do see myself evolving in every areas of my life. And there was a gentleman that I was speaking to, and I thought every time like we would just have a conversation, and I'm just trying to get some clarity or some understanding, and I try to talk to him or bring certain subjects up, he will always get defensive. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot deal with this person. So I think it's kind of hard sometimes when you feel like you're evolved and the other person is not, because like you say, they let their inner child come out and speak for them. Now, someone that's in a relationship and that's dealing with that, what advice would you give them?
Wow. I really would love to see women not get into those relationships.
Right.
Because here's the thing, I would dare say that if a woman is in a relationship with the man who has an unhealed child, then there's something inside of her that's unhealed as well. Something in her perception. And it doesn't have to be anything deep. It could be something as simple as when the woman was younger and she was in a public setting and it was her turn to speak out and say something. And when she spoke out, an older an aunt or maybe the mom said something like, just sit down and be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And that has always been inside that woman, and she's never really healed it, but she always finds that she's trying to overcompensate. trying to make sure you know that she's there, that she's present, that she's being heard. Right. And when we get in a space of always wanting to just be heard, that means that we're not listening.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one. And just piggyback a little bit when I was speaking to this gentleman, because I realized I was at a place where I evolved, and the more that I came in contact with him, it's not to say that he wasn't a great person, but I couldn't deal. So I just let him go. So that just proved to me right there that I was at that place where I say, you know what, I have to let you go, because I'm at a season where I evolve and I need you to be there and you're not there. So thank you for that, because that just lets me know that I'm on the right track.
Right. So you're in the clear, because some women are in relationships and they're married.
Right.
To men like that, but if we can flip the mirror, they're that way too, just in a different sense.
Right. And I know because I don't mind talking about myself. I know when I was married, and I know at some point in time, me and my ex-husband, we did go back and forth with each other. And it was like, oh my gosh, can we please stop now? Don't get me wrong. We all know that people fight, but I always keep hearing the terminology that you got to fight fair. Am I correct? Fight fair in a relationship?
Well, I like the term, I like to mediate things, to negotiate.
Okay.
I like that better. And when I was married, my my ex-husband and I, we had like such a terrible relationship, and we couldn't even talk to each other. And something happened with our daughter, and it was serious, and it required like his immediate attention. So before I even told him, what was going on with her, I remember calling him, because we used to have one of those things where, his wife would answer and be like, oh, this is on the phone. That was the kind of stuff I had to deal with. And when I called him in this instance, and I said to him, I said, listen, we're adults, and we are very clear that we do not like each other. Right. But here's the thing. We came together in love, under the guise of love, and we created this beautiful child out of love.
Right.
So we need to put all this other stuff aside, because our child needs us. So it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about her. Right. So can we agree that moving forward, we focus on her? And by that time, he's like, what's going on? Because I was fighting him back, back and forth too. And then he saw this sudden change, because I had to go do some work, especially with what happened with my daughter. And when I shared with him, he showed up immediately. He showed up to the hospital. And ever since then, we just started working on repairing, our relationship. And basically what I learned, and something that I implemented myself between us, was to teach both of us how to transition from being marital partners to now being parental partners.
Wow. So what I gained from that is pretty much God used you, because I always like to talk about our Father. He used you so y'all can come to this co-parenting relationship, because there was strife in the relationship, but with the co-parenting, he was able to calm that raging river down and say, listen, the focus is the child. Right. I love that. Right. That's another subject, but co-parenting, but I wish, more people would get that way, because I see so much unnecessary things going on in these relationships, and it's not required. It's like, why don't y'all see that the focus is the child, Right. Yeah, right. But a lot of people miss that point. But I definitely going to invite you back on for that part, because we need to talk about co-parenting, especially now. It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy. And especially right now, I know that with a lot of people that is essential workers, and I'm going to speak for myself too, that my ex-husband is essential worker, and I did have concerns, letting my child, be around him. But, you can't get mad at the other parent, but you still want to be fair. So you always want to give options, in which I did create those options. So, I just hope that he is willing to understand how I feel, and I understand how he feels, and we can just do what's best for our child.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that. But again, I definitely want to invite you back on so we can just tackle co-parenting.
Okay, I'm for it.
But we're just going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Lady K Enterprises are now licensed in the state of Pennsylvania and New York to help you with your insurance needs from auto, homeowner, life insurance, and home security. For additional information, please text the word insurance to 844-446-5374. Again, for additional information, please text the word insurance to 844-446-5374.
But going back to the men, as far as, but I went back when I first started opening up and I was talking about the COVID-19, and I know you were saying that, us women, we have to bring the peace, they need to feel comforted in their own home and, such as that. And then it spiraled into other, access of me asking you questions. I kind of want to just a little bit go back to that. I know you said it depends on each person. Everyone is different, but I just want to ask you, do you feel that praying together, can strengthen the family as well?
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Because they always say that, a praying family, makes the bond stronger. And, you just want to be on one accordance.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Definitely.
Anything else you would like to share with my audience, Ms. El Tomay?
Well, I just think it's really important for women to understand how powerful we are. And with that power comes a responsibility.
Right.
And that responsibility lies within our tongues.
The
words that we speak, because we can speak life or we can speak death.
Right.
And when I say death, and it's something that's been happening since, back in the 19th century with these nursery rhymes. So there's a nursery rhyme that says, what are little boys made of? And it says snips and snails and puppy dog tails. And then it says, what are little girls made of? Sugar and spice and everything nice. So there's been this thing historically in our language where we speak things. And we also say sticks and stones may break our bones, but names will never hurt. That's a lie.
Right. That is a lie.
So imagine even being boys growing up and just having that historical, sentence over you that boys are made up of snips and snails and puppy dog tails. And another version, they said frogs, snakes, or slugs. That's not speaking life or speaking well, but that's what we do as women, especially when we feel like we've been vexed, violated, or betrayed. Right. They become everything but who they are. So I would just say that if we can be more sensitive, if we can listen more and heal ourselves, because if we can heal, then our perspective will be different, and we won't be easily tricked by smoke and mirrors when a man just come up and start saying all this good stuff to us.
Right.
We'll be able to see and assess who we're talking to. Oh, that's the child.
Right.
Showing up as a man.
Absolutely. I love that. Tomay. Thank you so much. And if the people wanted to get in contact with you, how can they follow you?
I am on Instagram, El Tomay, Facebook, El Tomay. My show, Unbranded, they can actually text Unbranded to 33777 as well.
Thank you. Thank you, El Tomay. I appreciate it. And everyone, you can continue to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Lady K Chat and on my website at www.ladykkenterprises.inc. And thank you guys for tuning in with us tonight, and we'll see you next time.